Hey buddy, welcome to Shark Jets. I'm Skid Viz. In this video, I'm going to take a detour from my normal game dev stuff to do some low poly modeling in Houdini. But before we get started, please hit that like and subscribe button so that I can keep making these videos. And now let's make a house. Okay, here we are in Houdini. Let's go ahead and tab to drop a geometry node. Boom, and then we'll jump into that with a double click. We'll come in here and tab to drop in a box. Boom. All right, we've got our box. We will drop in a transform. Shift enter to connect it to the last thing we had. And then we will also drop in a color node to color the house red. Shift enter. And then we'll come in here and just pick a red. Nice, nice. Then we will drop in a merge node and connect that. All right, and this is where we're going to deviate from what we've been doing a little bit. So I'm going to click on this here. This little purple thing lets you select it and put it into template mode so that when it's not the visible object, you can see I'm sure you know this, but anything with you can only have one thing with the blue dot here to determine what is visible and what isn't. And when you're working on multiple things, you want to be able to see the whole picture. So I'll go ahead and copy these by doing Alt and drag. All right, so now we've got two boxes. I'm gonna move this one by clicking on its translate and just adjust its location. So this is what this purple thing is doing now. I can see both boxes. So if I were to just get rid of this, you would only see the one box. If I click on that, you can see where both boxes are. So I'll go ahead and merge this box in here. And then this is gonna be our door, so I'm gonna change its color to white. Actually, it's going to be our door frame. And I'm going to resize it, so I will scale it in to what a door should be, probably there, and scale it down because it's a little too tall. All right, and then I'm going to move it back to 0. And we need to pull it out a little bit because it's flush with the house. So we will move it on its Z-axis just a smidge. Just move in here a little bit. Probably a little more. Let's go with 0.05. Great. It's also too big. We don't need all that other space in there, so we'll just drag it down. Probably there's good. Now we gotta move it again. So if you middle mouse click to get this slider thing that lets you fine tune your movements. That's probably good, right about halfway. Now we need to move it down so that it aligns with the bottom of the house. So we will translate it vertically. That's good enough. Cool. Now we want to adjust, well, we'll do the inset so that you can see where the door is going to be. So we click the select tool, click on that face. These are the two different ways you can select by nodes, or by points, by vertices, or by primitives or faces or whatever. So we'll click this front facing face, and then we will press C to get to the quick menu, and just escape that. In order to get to that fast one like this, you need to make sure this is set to poly modeling. This is your context menu. So by default, I'm not sure where it is, but you put it on poly modeling. That way when you press C, you get this quick menu to the poly modeling features that you would normally use. So we'll use poly extrude, and then we'll come in here to the settings or the properties or the attributes and adjust it inwards. We'll go 0.5 again, why not 0.05? Cool. And then we will enter there and select the face again. Okay, so now we'll select that face again, and this time we'll go over here to the move tool or press T, and we'll get the move handles. So now I will align that back to the bottom here. And we'll bring this down so that we're also on the same level. Now we'll do another extrude. So we will make sure that face is selected again and hit C, hit poly extrude, and we want to go inward. So we'll adjust the distance in, not that far, because then we start clipping into the house, as you can see there. So that should be good right there. And now we can see the inside of the door, or the doorway. And we want to change the color of that face. So we'll select that face again, and we'll drop in another color node. Color, shift enter, cool. And then we'll just set it to that face. So let's go ahead and set this to, I don't know, some kind of brown, not a bright, no, not a green door, come on. Yeah, let's go with brown, why not? Something browny. That's good enough. Good enough. Now you can see that the whole door frame has been changed colors, even though we had set a color over here. So we want to make sure that this is just targeting this face. So we come up to the group and set the group to primitives, and you can see how it highlights just the face. Did I hit that? Yes, and then hit enter, and you can see that the face it selected was face number 9. And so now you can see that the frame is back to being white and the door is now brown. So let's take a look at what everything looks like, and that needs to come out a little more, doesn't it? Yes. Okay. Now we have the brown door, the white door frame, and the red house. So now let's do this again. Let's clean this up by pressing L, and that'll align everything up nice and clean. We're gonna make a doorknob, and the doorknob is going to be just another cube, as we've been doing with everything else. So we'll just make a copy of this and drag that into the merge. And then we'll select this as the visible thing. As you can see, it's a huge box. And we will, I don't know, let's scale this down to 0.1, maybe? That might be too big still. That's 0.1, 0.1. That's still too big, but let's go 0.5. 0.5, 0.05, 0.05. Yeah, that's good. So let's go back to the side view, and let's move that bad boy forward. All right. So we should be front and center there at the door. We don't want the doorknob at the center of the door, so we'll move it to the right. And down. There we go. And if we come back to this, you can see we have a red doorknob. Let's pull that out just a little bit more. That's good. And we want to change its color. Let's make it white also, why not? All right, so we're doing good. We've got a building with a door. Not too bad. Clean this up. All right, what's next? We need some windows. So let's go ahead and dupe this again. As you can see, you're just doing the same stuff over and over and over again until you get what you want. So we will look at this one here. We'll reset its values. Reset to defaults. Reset to defaults. All right. And our windows are going to be white, so that's fine too. Let's move this. We probably want to have smaller windows than that. So we will 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. Is that a good size for a window? I think it is. All right, so what are we going to do? We're going to do the same thing we did with the door, right? So we're going to inset this face. So we'll click this, click on the face, hit C to poly extrude. We will change the inside here like that. All right, and we'll hit enter. And then we will do the same thing again, but push the window in. So C, poly extrude, and we will adjust its distance inwards. That's good there. And then what do we want to do? We want to add another color to this. Let's go ahead and move this extrude. This is the window. Let's see if we can put it over here so that now our window color matches our frame color is white, and that's going to be at this poly extrude. And then we have this poly extrude, which is where the glass is going to be. So we'll add another color to that and do that. And then we can set this to a blue, which is what our windows should be. And then we'll do the same thing we did before. We'll tell it to just use a primitive and click to select that face. And that should, yes, it should work. So if we come back here, oops, did I forget to hit enter? I did. So select primitive, select the face, and hit enter. There we go. And now if we look, our window is inside the house, so we can't see it. But we can go back to the window. And then the next thing we want to do is we're going to probably want a window on each side. So we can actually duplicate this, and we'll do that with a copy and translate. So tab while selecting on that last node and say copy. Not cool, but copy. Copy and transform. Shift enter. And where did that go? Did I not do it? All right, I'll try again. Tab, copy, and transform, shift enter. There it is. And we will move that there. Now this, it doesn't look like anything happened because this copy and transform, what it does is it puts it in the exact same place. So we want to move the original one, so we can translate our initial window to move it away from the center. So let's come over here real quick. We should probably adjust its size. So let's, what is that? The Y, X. Let's see. Yeah. So our window is too big. So let's see what that looks like. Now we got to move in our extrude. Oh, that's not the right one. Move this one in so that we can see the glass. All right, cool. So now we'll take the whole thing and we'll move it outwards. Cool. And then we'll put it back into the window wall there. All right, so now we're in the center. So now this bottom one is in the same position, so we can actually translate it the other way. See that? And make sure that's fine, but it's facing the wrong way, so we'll rotate it on the x-axis, or the y-axis, 180. And whoa, what happened? It is somewhere over there. So what you want to do is set this back to 0, right? Because it's always starting off the center point. So now that it was in the center, we moved it out here, and so now when we rotated it, we just bring it to this side, if that makes any sense. All right, so we're cool. Now we can come over here, and there's our house. our windows are in the wrong place. So now we go back here and translate that a little more outwards. Maybe too much, just enough to get that window. Yeah, cool. And that does both of them. That's the beauty of this copy. Anything we do to one side now goes to the other side. So now we need a roof. How do we do a roof? Okay, if you're following along, you should know that the next thing we do is copy this again. So we Alt and bring it over here and drag that into the merge and just select it. We don't want it to be that big, so we will adjust its height to maybe 0.1. Yeah, that's good. And select its width to, I don't know, let's just take it out a little bit. What is that? Let's go 1.5, why not? Cool, and then we will transform it, and I should have done that. I should have not done that here. Let's go back and just set this back to 1, and this back to 1. Right, what did I say? Do everything in the transform. So let's just do that here again. So we'll set this to 0.1, is that what we said? Yep, and this was 1.5. Cool, and then we'll bring it upwards to wherever the top of the house would be. All right, we're looking good. Now we're gonna do poly extrude again. So we'll come in here and hit select and do our C. But this time we wanna set it to, yeah, let's leave it like this for now. So we'll do a C, and this time we're gonna do an edge loop, which will let us put a ring here. And where's the middle? We don't know where the middle is. You can right click and say snap to edge midpoint, and that will drop a little dot there. See that dot? That little dot lets you know where the middle is, and it'll actually snap to it. So you click that there. Now we have a split right down the middle. So now we go back to our selection tool. We'll change that to edges, right? We want to pick up this edge and the one on the other side. So we'll go W for wireframe. And now we can shift click to select both of those and hit T to transform again, or translate. And you can bring that up, and now we've got a nice roof. We'll move that to 4.5, 0.45, that's good enough. All right, and then we can select the whole thing and move that down so that it actually covers the house. So let's translate that downer. Too much. Let's go with there for now. Okay, get out of wireframe mode by pressing W. Let's look at the whole thing. Did I press W again? No. What happened here? There we go. Sometimes it gets a little wonky. So here's our house. We want to change the color of our roof. Let's make the roof brown again. Yeah, that's good enough. Now we've got this gap, and there's a couple ways to fix it, but you've already seen the way we did it. So let's go back to our box and come back here and make sure we're on this. Okay, that doesn't matter, but we'll go ahead and create another edge loop. So we'll hit C again, go to edge loop, and drop that right there in the middle. And then we'll select the vertices, click on the top one there, hit T to transform, and just move that up inside the other one. And we are done there. So now, as you can see, we have our house with 2 windows and a roof. And then to move it up, see how it's kind of in the middle of the plane? I like to drop another node down here at the bottom called axis, lab axis align. It's part of the lab tools set that they have, so you can download that. The link to that is in the descriptions. And then you drop that in there, and it'll automatically align everything up to that bottom floor there. There are other ways to do it, but I find that is the quickest, simplest way to do it. So there you have it. That's a house. Okay, now before we go, if you want to see what that renders to or how that renders, we'll go up one by pressing U, go back to our geo, and we'll bring in a camera. So we'll tab and type in camera. Now we have a camera. We select the camera, we come up here to this drop down, it says no cam, and pick that camera that we just made. We'll click this lock to lock our ability to move the camera. It'll follow our mouse now. So we can do this. And this little window that you can see, this is where it's gonna, what the final render would fit. So if we did this, we'd be missing all this stuff. So we'll come ahead and bring this house down here. Yeah, that's good right there. That's artistic. And then we can unlock this, and now we can move away from the camera so the camera will stay where we put it. But now we can drop some lights. So come back here and type in light again. And that'll show us that. We can grab that light with our grab tool and just put it wherever we want. It's cool there. And then I'm gonna copy that one, make another light, and move that light to the other side. So we've got some nice coverage. All right, and now if we go into render, we can hit the render button, and it should find that, that camera and render that image. And there you have it. It rendered that out, just like we said. It's just a house floating in space. But that's how you render a low poly house in Houdini. And there you have it. Quick and easy, right? Now, there's this really popular YouTube channel called Impenzia, I-M-P-H-E-N-Z-I-A. And what he does is he does these low poly tutorial videos for Blender. And I find it's a good idea to watch those videos, even though we're using Houdini, to learn how to do stuff and then try to recreate that in Houdini. That's a good training exercise I'm doing. Now, a lot of people might say, why don't you just use Blender? And we got a billion reasons, right? You can do a lot of procedural stuff. It's easier to go back and change things in Houdini than it is in Blender or any of the other destructive modeling programs. So I think it's good to just learn how to do it in Blender, or come on now, learn how to do it in Houdini, so that you can just do everything in one thing without having to jump around into too many programs. So I hope you found this video helpful and useful and you learned something. If you would have done this another way, I am more than interested in learning better ways to do things. So make sure to drop a note in the comments. Please make sure to like and subscribe so I can keep making these videos. And until the next one, I'm still SkidVis. Peace out.